everybody. Welcome to You Need to Stretch. Today, we're going to focus on some spine and some neck. All right. And we're going to start here in crisscross leg position or butterfly position is fine. Switch my legs here. Find a spot that you are comfortable. And I'm elevated up on some yoga blocks to help me keep my spine a little bit more upright. All right. So we're going to start off with some neck cars. We're going to sit up nice and tall. We're going to start by tucking the chin. And then curling it over. As you're doing this, I want you to try to feel like you're creating length through the neck as you're pulling it over. As your chin touches down to the clavicles or to the sternum, start gliding it across the left clavicle. Keep trying to create that good length as you're curling it down. Tilt the ear back towards the upper back and shoulder. And start to extend. We're going to roll our chin across to the other side. Make sure you're breathing. Nice and slow and controlled. Get that chin to touch all the way down to the right shoulder. Start lifting the head up, pressing the chin down, elongating the neck. I'm pulling back to center. And we're going to pull all the way back up, tucking the chin. Till we're nice and upright. Good, we just did one rotation in, the counterclockwise direction. Let's go one rotation in the clockwise direction. So I'm going to start by trying to tuck the chin and elongate the neck. I think we're trying to create space between the vertebrae. Breathing deeply. I happen to be using a lot of irradiation through my body. I'm squeezing things quite tightly. And I'm really trying to move my neck into really far stretched positions. I'm doing this mostly because this is not the first movements that I've done all day. I've already done another workout earlier today, so I'm already kind of loose. My body can deal with some high intensity stuff right now. If this is the first thing you're doing as you wake up, I'd suggest that you take a little lighter so you don't have to squeeze your neck muscles deep into stretches. We don't have to push our end range as hard. You can just use this as some warm-up, wake-up stuff. That's a big stretch for me. Good. Now, we're going to do partial reps. So we just did one full rotation in each direction. I want you to think about where you felt the most open angle stretch. And we're going to go through that range of motion 5 times. So, for example, for me, I felt the most open angle stretch when I was from here to about there. Here to about there. Felt huge stretch happening right here. Open angle, not the closed side. All right. And I'm going to go back and forth 5 times. Where is your spot that you feel the most stretch? Where's your tightest area? I want you to target that and move through it 5 times with partial reps. So I'm going to start by going through the whole neck car again, and I'm going to stop when I start to feel it. So I'm going to tuck the chin, curl it down, and then as I glide my chin across my right clavicle, I keep rotating as far as I can. And now I start to feel that huge stretch. So that's the start of my partial, and I keep feeling it until I get to about there. I'm going to reverse. And I feel it to about there. That's one. I'm going to do this 5 times. Find your spot. Move through it. Breathing. That's 2. I'm squeezing the regressive tissue. So the right and back parts of my neck, I am squeezing to help increase the amount of stretch I'm feeling. What I'm not doing is I'm not squeezing so much that I feel like I got to tense up the front part of my body. And it's loosening up. I'm going to do one more. All right, so that is a partial neck car. For me, really focused right here on my right scalene area. It even comes down to my shoulder a little bit. I can feel a whole lot of stretching there. And just spending a little extra time focused on that area does wonders. Time under tension is really important for changing tissue. All right, now that we did our full neck car, we're going to go into our full spinal car from the seated position. So we're going to have our hands across our chest and start up nice and tall. Remember, during all this, I want you to think about spreading out the vertebrae, So we'll start again by elongating and tucking our chin down, and then elongating and rounding the spine. From here, left elbow to sky. From here, left elbow down to left hip or back pocket. I should be staying balanced on my sit bones. From here, rainbow across to the other side. And I'm going to aim my right elbow to my right back pocket. Try not to lose balance on those sit bones. I'm getting a little wobbly. This probably isn't the greatest thing to be sitting on. And back to center. And curl up. So we just did one rotation in the counterclockwise direction. So I'm elevated onto 2 of my yoga blocks, and it's causing me to lose balance. So I'm just going to switch to 1. Now, the higher up you're sitting, the more space you'll have to work, especially if you're not as mobile as some other people. For me, I'm relatively less mobile, I would say, than, let's say, a bendy person. But I can also sit up straight just like this, and I have a more secure position to balance on. All right, so let's sit up nice and tall. Let's do our car in the other direction. So first I'm doing my neck. Coming down, elongated. And then the spine. Rotate right elbow up to ceiling. And then right elbow back to right hip pocket. And then start extending upwards. Rainbow across to the other side. Left elbow down to left back pocket. All the way back to center. And then back upright. Good, that is our full spinal car from the crisscross position. All right, I want to get onto all fours, and we're gonna work with our cat-cow here. All right, so I'm gonna put a block in between my legs just to create a little extra tension there. Put 2 blocks in between my legs so I get some extra grip. That's better. All right, so I want you to just take your time, flex and extend the spine nice and slow. Also think how, when I'm in flexion, so this is extension or that cow position, and this is flexion, the cat position. When I'm in this position, how can I keep spreading the vertebrae out? All right, so you can imagine that you are a stegosaurus. And the more that you round, all the points coming out of your spine should start spacing away from each other or pointing out at a wider angle. That's what we're trying to do when we flex our spine, trying to space them out. All right. Alexa, set timer 1 minute.
1 minute, starting now.
So we're just going to do this slow cat-cow, get an awareness of breathing in your spine. Try to distinguish between shoulder blade movement and spinal movement. I know that's very difficult. Took me a while, but just started to think about it. Your shoulder blades don't need to move just for your spine to move. They will, they certainly will during this, but they don't need to shrug up and down. I can be in this cat position with a depressed scapula. And I can be in this cow position with an elevated scapula. Alexa, stop timer. All right, so now that we practiced our global cat-cow, I want to do our segmental cat-cow. So this is where we start in the cat position, transition to the cow position, 1 vertebrae at a time. This is going to be very slow and controlled, okay? So this is the segmental cat-cow, starting from the cat position or flexion. We're going to attempt to move our tailbone first. First, just catch your breath. Make sure you're fully flexed. And let's start peeling that sacrum into extension.
making your way slowly up the lumbar spine.
And I'm into full extension or that cow position. I'm breathing. I'm going to move from the tailbone again. This one's most difficult for me. Breathe, take it slow. And we end up back where we started. Let's move from our head first. Try for one vertebrae at a time. Elongating. Spoke too soon. I think that one's harder for me. And then from the head again. Right? No, from the tailbone. Tailbone. Whew. All right. Those are our 4 segmental cat-cows, the way that we can move from flexion to extension, one vertebrae at a time, right? Being able to do that really just one vertebrae at a time will really show each individual vertebral joint control, which is the way a spine should really work, right? All right, so I want to go into just some lumbar cat-cows. So you can take a block and put it behind your head and kind of tuck that chin, or you can just use like the edge of a couch, all right? Or you can just use your hands if you don't have a block. But I'm really just kind of trying to use the block to round my upper back and really create thoracic flexion. And then from here, we're just going to try some lumbar cat-cows. So I'm really trying not to move my thoracic vertebrae at all. And this position really helps me lock that in place. That's 2, we're going to go for 5. Three. Keep pushing through the upper back. 4. Remember, you've got to push actively to stabilize, and that will help you better mobilize the working spot. 5. Good. Next, we're going to do the same thing,
but just with our thoracic spine. So here, I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna sit back onto my heels. All right. And this is gonna help me stabilize my lumbar spine in place. And I'm gonna try to round the upper back. And extend it. Come into a little different position, hands on the hips. I think that'll help me keep my lumbar spine in place a little bit better. It's 2. This is taking a lot of concentration and feeling and sensation. It is okay if it's not perfect right now. Just practice. Try to think about what you're feeling in each part of your spine. 3. 4. My head's staying relatively neutral. 5. Good. All right. We're going to go into a static roll back stretch. All right. To help out with some flexion of the spine. So this can be quite difficult for some people to get into. All right. You may need a spotter for this if you have one. But our goal is going to be basically doing backward somersault. And we're going to try to get our knees down right next to our ears with our arms here. And this is going to help us feel a whole lot of stretching throughout the spine. So I'm going to take my knees and I will start by just sending the legs over. And then I'm going to take my hands, try to reach them towards where my feet were. And I'm trying to flatten out my back onto the floor. Alexa, set timer 2 minutes.
2 minutes, starting now.
All right, you guys heard her. 2-minute hold here. Try to keep pulling your shoulders away from your ears. Try to be pressing your upper back and neck into the ground. Take your time with this one. It's quite difficult. I can rest my feet on the couch, but I'm going to try to actually use the couch to my advantage a little bit to pull me down. Deep belly breaths from here. Quite difficult, but totally necessary to help relax and stretch this out. Think if you can, get your knees right next to your ears. It's a long hold. If you need to come out a little bit to relax, you can. Alexa, stop timer. All right, as we come out of here, nice and slow, you can even try to bring one vertebrae down to the ground. It's a nice little ab exercise. All the way down. And just take some deep belly breaths from here. All right. Let's flip it on over. So I want to go into a hero pose. Actually, let's start off with some cobra stretch. All right, so just knees on the ground. Try to press the scapula, stick the chest out. Alexa, set timer 1 minute.
1 minute, starting now.
Chest and abs out. Hard depression of the scapula. This is work to depress the scapula. I don't want to see you here. I want to see you here. I'm also trying to protract my scapula a little bit. I know yogis love them, retract it. But protraction in this position helps me extend the thoracic spine. Alexa, stop timer. Good. Now we'll go into hero's pose, which I would say is less of a spine thing, more of a quadricep thing. But, you know, the bioflow just carries up into the abs. So hero pose is this. We're just going to try to stick our chest and our stomach out. Alexa, set timer 1 minute.
1 minute, starting now.
And I'm going to see how far back can I go. I'm clenching my butt, arching my back. I feel quad stretch and ab stretch, shoulder stretch, all kind of up the front side of the body, whereas the reverse somersault is all kind of down the back side of the body. So you can just think of this as opening up and stretching the opposite. You can definitely feel this in the front part of my shin. Alexa, stop timer. Ooh. Yeah, that was a lot for my shins. Shins and front part of the ankle joint. Right. All right. We did some flexion and extension. I want to get into rotation. So one of my favorite rotations is stuff from the seated position, because it really fires up my hips. And so I'm going to sit here in a crisscross position, and I'm just going to try to do some spinal rotations from here. All right, so this crisscross position helps me kind of lock my hips into place. So take note of where your balance points are here. Where's my center of mass? And let's
let's keep it there throughout the whole time we rotate. So I'm here, arms out, chest up. Inhale through transition. Exhale at end range. That's 1, we're doing 5. Inhale through transition. Exhale at end range. Keep trying to exhale. 2. It's really hard to get all that air out when you're in that position. Keep trying. That was better. Three. Four. Five. Ooh, arms got a little tired there at the end. All right, we're gonna flip into a deep squat position. So the deep squat position may be difficult for some people to get into. Some things you can do is you can elevate your butt and actually just sit if you'd like. All right. You can elevate your heels. So like here, my heels are higher than my toes. That will make this easier. But completely up to you. If you can't hold a deep squat position just by itself, then I suggest you need to modify. All right. And I suggest either heels elevated or have a support system underneath your butt, or even a support system in front of you that you can hold on to. All right. So I'm elevating my heels here, and we're going to do sky reaches. So this is going to be a twist and a reach up to the ceiling. We're going to use the same breathing technique that we just did. We're going to lodge our right elbow into our right thigh, left elbow up, exhale. Alternate sides, left elbow lodge in, all right, so I'm inhaling as I'm driving the elbow up, exhaling as I'm reaching the arm up. That's 1. We're going to do 5 on each side. 2. 3. Ooh, hips are getting a little tired here. 4.
Good. Take your time coming out of this. I'd recommend just sitting on the floor to help your body get back to base. All the blood ends up pooling in your ankles in that position. All right. So I want to finish off with some breathing from different positions. So I've really been into breath work and lungs lately, see how they function, how they affect movement. And this is an exercise that I learned from the Postural Restoration Institute. And let me show it to you first. All right, so you want something firm in front of you to push off of. The couch isn't exactly ideal because it's a little soft, but it's not going to move, and that's what's important. All right, and then I'm going to press that left heel down, lift my right leg up, and from here, I'm going to deep belly breathe. All right. Now, when you're doing this, the goal of this is to really feel air come in and go to the back side of your left lung. So kind of right here. All right. It is the posterior base of your left lung. This is an exercise designed to help get more air in and to more gas exchange to occur there, because that is a spot that many of us don't breathe from. And PRI goes into a lot of reasons for that, much of which don't matter right now. So let's get into this position. So find something that you can push off of. Ideally, nothing that's going to move under the weight of you. So it has to have a wall behind it or something. All right. The table would be great. Countertop would be great. All right. And actually, I'm going to use this. This will be even better for me. So I'm here. I'm going to try to have equal amounts of weight. Let's start with equal amounts of weight on our hands and our feet. All right. And I'm going to try to round my spine slightly and get my arms up overhead. All right. And from here, in order to target that left side, I just want you to lift your right foot off the ground. You need to drive your left heel through the floor. And you should feel the majority of the pressure on your left heel and your right hand. And from here, we're going to deep belly breathe. Alexa, set timer 2 minutes.
2 minutes, starting now.
Really push through that left heel. I had to step mine back a little bit to create more stretch. And as you breathe, think about what you feel expanding and relaxing. I can definitely feel my left lower lat area expanding and contracting with the air movement. I definitely feel a lot of weight on my right hand and my left heel. And this bent position is creating a big stretch and helping to facilitate gas exchange to that left base of the left lung. Posterior base of the left lung is really a part that we want to get better at breathing with. I don't want you to push so hard that you end up arching your back like this. All right? Keep that spine rounded and try to get it parallel to the floor. Slight round, parallel to the floor. If at any point you start to feel lightheaded, I just want you to go down onto your knees and onto all fours. Alexa, stop timer. So notice during this, sometimes my foot was down, sometimes it was back here, sometimes it was up here. I was just playing with that to see where I felt the most breath. Seems like for me, I can keep a little base point right here and still inhale really well into that left side. And I'm gonna make my way down to the floor.
And that is just a little intro into some postural restoration institute exercise that focuses on how the lungs function and breathing into certain areas of the lungs. Because over the course of our lives, we end up only using specific areas of the lungs due to our general orientation with gravity. So really doing a breath work practice while changing your body position can be helpful to not only the lungs themselves, but how we move, how we produce power, and how we exercise. Thanks a lot for joining me today, guys. I'll see everyone next week.